PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, trees and multiforms. You might be saying, what in the name of the face of Bo? No, because it's not the face of Bo, isn't it? Or it's the face of Bo. What in the name of the face of Bo? Because you say, well, wait a second, is the name the face of Bo? Or is the name Bo and the face is of Bo? If you're confused, you're probably in the right place. Even though I already may know the answer or be able to speculate on the answer, to whom is Bo? I couldn't answer it on the, if this was, you say, is this, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm trying to explain. And that means you're in the right place because it's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. And thanks to these sponsors is how we're able to be here for you for free twice a week. Hey, everybody, it's Scoots here, and I'm here with a little bit of a pitch for you. You know, my purpose in making this show is to be here twice a week for free to keep you company in the deep, dark night. But really, the podcast is about feeling less alone in the deep, dark night. And I can definitely relate to that right now, because every time I ask for help, it does feel a little bit scary and lonely for me. But I'm doing this one as a call to adventure. I'm asking you right now to take some heroic action. Join a rebellion in the Deep Dark Night, the Deep Dark Night United, and pay for a free podcast. And the reason to pay for it, beyond the bonus content, beyond paying for something you get something out of, is paying for a show that makes you feel less alone and makes other people feel less alone. That's what the whole podcast existence, that's the foundation of it. Be a supporter of the Deep Dark Night United. Pay for a free podcast. Be a rebel. Become a patron. I need your help. I need your help right now. Being a rebel, a DDNU rebel, paying for a free podcast that makes you feel less alone. So if the show makes you feel less alone and you can afford to pay for the podcast, can you do it right now? You can support the show at sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron, sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. You save money becoming an annual patron, but if you can afford to do so, the biggest obstacle to getting support for the show a lot of times is people are falling asleep, so I got to ask to interrupt your sleep for a minute. You're a part of the Deep Dark Night United. You're taking heroic, rebellious action, and you're making me feel less alone. You'll feel less alone. And a whole lot of other people feel less alone, because that's really what it's about. We're doing this together in the deep, dark night. But I really am in a position where I need your help right now, if you can afford to pay for a free podcast. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron, sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. Type it in your phone, sign up, and then tomorrow you can figure out the bonus content and all that stuff. Thank you so much, my rebels in the deep, dark night. All right, everybody, and now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. You know, I can be one of those people that ends up focusing on problems instead of solutions. You know, like when I forget to charge the batteries of the recorder and the backup batteries aren't charged and the recorder stops in the middle of the recording, and then it just spirals down there, and it's like problem after problem after problem. And then I start thinking, what's going to go wrong next? Instead of thinking about solutions and maybe having a different mindsets. It can be tough to train your brain when you're stuck in that problem-solving mode, when you're faced with a challenge in life. But when you learn how to find your own solutions, there's no better feeling. And working with a therapist can help you become a better problem solver, making it easier to accomplish your goals, no matter how big or small. And I'm talking from experience. I go to talk therapy every single week. I recommend it to everyone in my personal life because it works. I have someone to talk about with my problems and my mindset to say, hey, what about this? Maybe you could look at it in a different way. And talk therapy, working with a licensed therapist, has helped me get out of that place of just looking at everything like a problem and be like, oh, what about being excited about something? Be excited about a challenge. Therapy has given me so much more than I expected when I started it. It's helped me with my stress. It's helped me with my emotional healing. It's helped me deal with anxiety and depression and give me concrete skills to live my life and to live my life more more fully. So if you're thinking about giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. It's convenient, it's accessible, affordable, and entirely online. Get matched with a therapist after filling out a brief survey, and you can switch therapists anytime. When you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can get you there. Visit BetterHelp.com/sleepwithme today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/sleepwithme. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it's time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone, the one part of the podcast in each year. It's where I pop my peas. If you please, I thank the listeners who supported the sponsors. That's how we're able to be here for you free twice a week. And, you know, I love making this show. Not only is it supposed to take your mind off stuff and put you to sleep, it's here. So hopefully right now, listen to me. You feel less alone in the deep, dark night. You know, other people are listening too. And you may have heard me asking you, hey, if you support a sponsor, please let me know about it. I'm going to make some changes behind the scenes with the sponsors because the goal is for the show to come out free twice a week. So don't worry, I'm on that. But if I could use your help, if you're in a position to do so, to support the show directly or support a sponsor, let me know about it. Let the sponsor know about it. Or just spread the word about the podcast. Let people know about it for free. It could really use your help. And then let me know so I can say thank you because I appreciate it. I want to be here keeping you company in the deep, dark night. That's my job. And I work really hard at it. So thank you so much. The next part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone is you getting the support you need right now. If you're having a tough time, there's links to resources in the show notes that you could connect with right now. It's also about being a part of positive change, not just saying Black Lives Matter, not just saying stop AAPI hate, not just saying support Ukraine, but learning more and taking action. There's links to resources where you could do that in our show notes. And we're part of a lot of different communities, but one of the community projects we're participating in as a group is building hygiene kits for people experiencing homelessness. You could join us. You could take part. I'm driving hygiene kits down to the Midnight Mission. We've got another partner coming up here. Help out. Have fun. Come to free live streams. What more could you ask for? Positive change and being a part of sleepwithmepodcast.com/midnight mission. All the instructions come through that email. And that's it. What do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? Mystery Bard. Mystery Bard. A lot of people help out on the show. Who are they?
Poster son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the mystery bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support Dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. I'm at Dear Scooter on Twitter and Instagram. That's where you can find me. What do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake. It could be thoughts on your mind, things you're thinking about, thoughts about the past, the present, the future. So thoughts, it could be feelings, anything coming up for you emotionally related to those thoughts. My thoughts give me feelings, my feelings give me thoughts. It's, they work together. I would say they conspire together. I don't like to use that word, conspire together, but my thoughts and my feelings, I don't know what, I do know. So thoughts, feelings, conspiring to keep me awake, they try to draw me into it too. They say it's not a conspiracy. We're just working together. They say, no, it seems like my thoughts and my feelings, but it could also be physical sensations. It could be changes in time, temperature, routine. You could be traveling. Your schedule could have changed. You could have guests. You could be a guest. You could be putting the magic to the test. You could have had too much gray stuff, even though if you tried it, it's delicious. I don't know why well, as soon as I thought of being my guest, you could have watched too much Angela Lansbury, whether it's movies or her show, one of her many shows. Here's a question that's never come up, I don't think, on the podcast before. And please reach out to me. Do people, how many people have cosplayed as a character Angela Lansbury has played? I would bet some people. I don't know if the Venn diagram, I mean, it's somewhat niche. And I'm not talking about Halloween, but you could do it as Halloween. Here's the other thing. Is there an Angela Lansbury convention? I hope to goodness there is. If there's not, and you're listening to this, please message me. And after I start the Rom-Com Con convention, or restart it and get a booth, because I think that one already exists, I'm willing to do, I'm willing to do it in my imagination, so you're welcome to come. Landsbury Con. I guess this could be an episode idea. That's where, we'll do it. That's, I guess, what tonight's episode will be about. And what we'll figure it out. I mean, why not? Lean in. Maybe, Sheryl Sandberg, have you ever cosplayed would you consider cosplaying at, is Cabot Cove the place, or is that a cheese or a wine? No answer. My brain doesn't have an answer for that. We'll have Cabot cheese at Cadbury. No. Landsbury Con, not Cadbury Con. That's different. Sponsor Landsbury Con, sponsored by Cadbury. Just because they sound similar and all in Scoots' brain. So we didn't have a problem. How'd you get all those corporate sponsors, Scoots? Oh, they're imaginary sponsors of an imaginary event, so not a problem. Okay, so where were we? If you're new, you may be confused. Totally makes sense if you are. But so if you're confused and you're new, I'm glad you're here. Whatever's keeping you, I'd like to take your mind off of that. The way I'm going to do it is getting distracted. But I'm going to send my voice across the deep, dark night. I'm going to use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, superfluous tangents. I get to introduce, I'm not someone that would actually, I just wanted to point this out and level the playing field. Even though I'm supposed to be introducing a sleep podcast, I'm not an Angela Lansbury fan, but I've never seen her show, an episode of that show she's really famous for. Don't worry, if you're young, I'll explain who Angela Lansbury is, because I know she was in either Chitty Chitty Bang Bang or Incredible Mr. Limpet, or she was Mrs. Potts, and is that what is Mrs. Teapot or something in Beauty and the Beast, the animated one? But she was, I don't know, she was in, she's been in movies with Dick Van Dyke. She may have been in Mary Poppins. I'm not positive about any of this, but Angela Lansbury was a beloved actress, and she's succeeded in so many different worlds in performance. And so I think I'm assuming there already is a conference, but if there isn't, we'll give it its due. And the good thing is I'll learn more about who Angela Lansbury is. I'm not promising to watch any of those shows because they don't really go along with she was on a famous procedural show called Writing Mysteries. Writing Mysteries, she wrote. Mysteries she wrote. So, okay, so I'll explain more. So if you say, who's Angela? It sounds nice, though, don't you think? That sounds like somebody you'd be nice. You'd be like, have you met my mother's friend, Angela Lansbury? You say, do you introduce all your mother's friends by their full names? I do when it sounds so lovely. When I can say Angela Landsbury. You say, okay, this will be, I'm not trying to, like, I do have, because some of my brain said, Scoots, who's your favorite Angela? And I'd say probably Angela Bassett. I mean, because I just don't know as much about Angela Lansbury, but I would cosplay as Angela, like, I will do an episode about Angela Lansbury. Also, Angela was a twin of the sister who I gave a pencil sharpener to, who briefly, I thought was my girlfriend in 4th or 5th grade, but wasn't, or maybe was, because Angela was dating my best friend. And so my best friend, who was my best friend at the time, said, well, why doesn't your sister go out with my friend Andy? And it didn't work out. Like, I've talked about it on the show before. Beaver Lake Nature Center. Got a pencil sharpener for her. Oh, we also went and bought earrings at Kmart. I think I bought her telephone, earrings that looked like a telephone or something. Or maybe that's what Bo was buying. Yeah, I think I bought her, no, you're right. My brain, I bought her some dangling earrings. Bo was buying Angela telephone earrings. And I said, maybe I should buy her sister earrings too. Didn't work out, but I mean, that's why you make a sleep podcast. Oh, but you should start your sleep podcast. You're right. Some of my voice across the deep dark night, use lulling, soothing tones, creaky dulcet tones, which means my voice is not perfect. Pointless meanders and superfluous tangents. You've already heard a couple of those. Which means I'm going to go off topic and get mixed up and, just do my thing. But all to keep you company while you fall asleep. So if you're new, a few things to know. The most important thing is you deserve a good night's sleep. I'm glad you're here. And I hope I can help you fall asleep because when I've been there, tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep, I got all of those. So I know how it feels. That's why I call it the deep dark night. I know it can feel lonely, frustrating. It can make sleep something you're not looking forward to, that you're dreading. So if I can help you, that would be my honor. But also, I really believe you deserve a good night's sleep. If you get the rest you need, your life's going to be more manageable, and your world and our world will be a better place. That's important to me because it's true. You do deserve a place you can get some rest. There are a couple things with the show. One, the first thing is it's very different, sounds different. It never gets started. It's always going. Mike, I was supposed to introduce the podcast. Then I invented a new, humble brag. I invented a new convention, maybe. It may, first imaginary convention I've invented today or came up with. I don't know. I thought I was going to talk about my brain, my feelings and my thoughts conspiring against me, but clearly I got past that. I came up with a ridiculous meander. But so this podcast does take some getting used to. Most listeners report, this is like, I'm not kidding, I think I've heard this a million times. Took 2 or 3 tries for me to get used to the show. So give it a few tries. There's really nothing to lose. And I only gain if you become a regular listener. If the podcast works for you, then it works for both of us. If it doesn't work for you, you can check out sleepwithmepodcast.com/no-thank-you. That has other sleep podcasts and stuff on there and sleep audio. But give it a few tries just because it's so different. And what's different about it, one, it's a podcast you don't really listen to. Just like something that's a little bit out of focus. You say, okay, I kind of barely understand what he's talking about. And also, you just kind of barely listen. And what was the other thing? I don't even remember anymore. This is a podcast. Oh, I don't put you to sleep. I'm here to keep you company while you fall asleep. I'm here to be your boar friend, your boar bae, your boar sib, your boar cuz, your boar bestie, your boar burr, your neighbor. And so I'm here to help you fall asleep. That's really what I'm here to do is keep you company, take your mind off stuff, and then you fall asleep. So I guess I'm not here to help you fall asleep. I'm here to keep you company. The other things that throw people off is the structure of the show, which is very specific, but it is adjustable as you become a regular listener. Though I found more and more people coming back to the traditional structure of the show or using Patreon to use the show differently. But here's the structure of the show. Starts off with a greeting. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So you feel seen, you feel welcome. Then I say something silly. So you say, okay, the tone of the show about something serious is a little bit silly. And then there's an intro. Or no, then there's support for the show. So the show can come out for free twice a week on every podcast app. That's important to me. And the only thing that makes it possible is the sponsors and the people that support the show and support all the work that we all put into this show, which I appreciate. Then there's support for the community around the show, for listeners. And then there's an intro, which we're like 10 or 12 minutes into. 14 according to the clock, but some of this will be edited out, believe it or not. And the intro is really a show within a show. Some people, especially when they first listen or they just don't like me in the show, which is understandable, they clump the support for the show and the intro together. But the intro is really like where I'm trying to explain what the podcast is. I'm not succeeding. But it's also just supposed to serve as a wind down, as part of, like, listeners are getting ready for bed. They may be doing something else relaxing. They're getting comfortable. And so that's, like, part of the wind down is to ease you into bedtime, to give you a landing strip, because it just doesn't work for me to just get in bed and fall asleep. I have a wind down routine I take. So some listeners are getting ready for bed. Some people are doing a chill activity. Some people are in bed getting comfortable. There are people that are already asleep. We're happy for all of you. Though we do have a little bit of like whatever sleepy FOMO is. There's like 2% of people that skip ahead to 20 or 30 minutes and start the show there. And then there's an equal amount of patrons, people that support the show online, that either just listen to the intros or just listen to the story portion. So that's kind of interesting that for the people that are the most engaged with the podcast, half of them listen to intros and half of them listen to story only. That's not of all the supporters. Most people listen to the episode straight through. I mean, not in one sitting. There's no wrong way to use the show, even though now I'm explaining different use cases. But so you could kind of see as you become a regular listener what's going to work. But the intro is a part of it because it eases you into bedtime. That's what I was trying to say. Then there's support for the show again between the intro and the story. Again, so the show can come out free twice a week. Even though the show sounds free and easy, there's a lot of work that goes into it. And then there'll be our bedtime story, which apparently will be something about Angela Landsbury. I'm excited to find out more. Maybe I'll even I'll just do a quick Angela Lansbury search and watch something later. And then there's the thank yous at the end. So that's the structure of the show. That's why I make the show. I'm really glad you're here. Or I'm really appreciative that you're back if you're a regular listener, or that you checked the show out on someone's recommendation, or you're searching for something to help. Please give it a few tries. I really hope it can help you. I work really hard. I yearn and I strive. I really hope I can help you fall asleep. And here's a couple of ways I'm able to do it for you for free twice a week. Hey, everybody, it's Drew Scooter here, and I'm here to talk to you about becoming a patron, supporting the podcast that puts you to sleep, essentially paying for a free podcast, paying for the work that goes into the show. But before you think about that, the first question is, are you in a position to support the show $5, $10, or $20 a month? If the answer is no, don't worry about it. There's enough people that can support the show and keep it free for you, too. But if you are in a position to support the show $5, $10, or $20 a month, and you say, well, what else are you spending $5, $10, or $20 a month on a regular basis that you use in a comparable way to sleep with me? Does sleep with me put you to sleep every single night? Think about supporting it. Do you count on Sleep With Me? Do you look forward to listening to Sleep With Me? Do you listen to multiple episodes of Sleep With Me? I know I look forward to having ice cream. Maybe you pay for that cup of coffee you look forward to every single week. Maybe you look forward to paying for that movie service you use once a week on the weekends. Do you sleep with me more times a week than that $5 cup of coffee? Do you listen to Sleep With Me as much as you use some of those streaming services? If the answer is yes, and you're in a position to support the show, you get a lot out of the podcast. Think about supporting it. sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. That's sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. Thanks, everybody. Everybody, this is Scoots here, and I don't know what past Scoots, like I know past Scoots was talking about Angela Lansbury, but sometimes he doesn't like write everything down. And I know he was talking to like Angela Lansbury's famous roles. And I was like, okay, well, like my like knowledge of Angela Lansbury's pretty limited, Scooter. I don't know if you know that, but when you decided to make an entire, but here's the thing I know, Angela Lansbury is pretty wonderful. So I said, let's learn more and let's just be open-minded and see where it goes from there. So I looked up on Wikipedia, of course, where you say, Scoots, where do you learn more? What's the definitive reference on Angela Lansbury? And I say, the definitive one? I don't know. I'll probably hear about it when this episode comes out. But the reference I have easy access to get a basic overview, thank you, is Angela's Wikipedia. And here's the first thing. This is how not like clear I was. Angela Lansbury is an Irish-British actress who's played, I knew she was in film, theater, musicals too, television roles. She is DBE, so she's royalty at this point. That made me think of the Marple character, Ms. Marple or whatever. But then I said, I think we were already pushing our luck with that one. Because I don't even remember how I was trying to skirt around it. Oh, was it Miss Marble? I don't know. But so 80 years of career at this point. She's an Academy Award nominee. She's was a star in the golden age of Hollywood, according to Wikipedia. Grew up in London. Moved to the United States in 1940. Started studying acting. Then moved to Hollywood in 1942. She signed to MGM and. She was in the picture Dorian Gray in a movie called Gaslight. In picture Dorian Gray, she got 2 Oscar nominations and a Golden Globe. She was in 11 more MGM films, and then her contract ended in 1952. She did supplemental work with theatrical appearances. I don't know what that means. But she then appeared in 1962 in The Manchurian Candidate, which was met with widespread acclaim and is considered one of her finer performances. That doesn't have a citation, though, but I'm assuming it is, though. Then moved into musical theater on Broadway. She was in Mame. Holy cow. Okay, so that's where we can go next. This could be all facts about Angela Lansbury and where it leads. And she got a Tony Award. Then she moved from California to County Cork in Ireland in 1970, but still continued with theatrical and cinematic performances. She was in leading roles in the musicals Gypsy, Sweeney Todd, The King and I, then Bedknobs and Broomsticks. And we'll cover that one. I thought I was going to rewatch that, but I don't remember. I think we started it. Or maybe it was Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I don't know if that's a good question. I don't know if she was in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I don't see it listed here yet. Moving into television in 1984, this was 1984 when she was on the show Mystery Writer of Mysteries. And that ran for 12 seasons and one of the longest running and most popular detective drama series in TV history. Lansbury actually assumed ownership of the series and was its executive producer for the final 4 seasons. Then she moved into voice work. That probably came up that's maybe where it came from, is Beauty and the Beast, and also in Don Bluth's Anastasia. And she toured in a variety of international productions and continued to make film appearances. Nancy McPhee, Mary Poppins Returns, has received an Academy Award, BAFTA, Tony Awards, Golden Globes, Olivier Award. and then nominated for other things. Best Supporting Actress on 3 occasions, Primetime Emmy Awards on 18 occasions, and a Grammy Award. And yeah, in 2014, she was made Dame Commander of the Order of the British Empire by Queen Elizabeth II. She's also had 3 biographies written about her. So let's go to a little bit deeper into her career. Tonight at 8:30, and then was joined, let's see. I don't know. I don't understand this because I don't have the context. So I'm trying to think. Having gained the job by claiming to be 19 when she was 16, she was working at a nightclub in Montreal, earning $60 a week, then returned to New York City in 1942. Then Hollywood, she was following her mother, who was trying to resurrect her cinematic career. Lived in a bungalow in Laurel Canyon. That sounds nice. Landsbury and her mother obtained jobs. They worked at Bullock's Wilshire department store. And she was actually, Landsbury maintained her job, $28 a week, supported the rest of her family. Then was in Gaslight, which was a mystery thriller set in London. Starred Ingrid Bergman as the star, lead role of Paula Alquist. Angela Lansbury played the role of Nancy Oliver or Olivier, and then got an agent, then signed a 7-year contract with Metro Goldwyn Mayer. That was $500 a week, using her real name as her professional name. Got casting attention in Variety magazine, and then Gaslight. Although Lansbury's role was widely praised, that was the one she got Best Supporting Actress for. Then National Velvet as the older sister of Velvet Brown, and maintained a lifelong friendship with Elizabeth Taylor. Now let's open that one just in case. Then was in The Picture of Dorian Gray, a cinematic adaptation of Oscar Wilde's novel. Set again in Victorian London. She played Sybil Vane, a working-class music hall singer who falls in love with Dorian Gray. I have not read that novel. I'm reading something now, but that might go on my list. The film was not a financial success, but Lansbury's performance once more drew praise, got a Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actress in a Motion Picture. And that was a nomination, but lost to Anne Revere, her co-star in National Velvet. Let's see. Then... Let's see what else we got here. Established career 1950 to 1960. 11 further films till the contract ended, as we talked about. Keeping up with B-list stars, MGM used her less than the similar aged actresses, biographers. These were mediocre films anyway. Some people claim she was miscast repeatedly by MGM. Playing different roles. And the company then had a slump. In 1948, started cutting their budgets. Lansbury played her first American character as E.M., a honky-tonk saloon singer with Judy Garland in the Wild West musical, The Harvey Girls. Then she was in The Hoodlum Saint, Till the Clouds Roll By, If Winter Comes, 10th Avenue Angel, The Three Musketeers, State of the Union, Red Danube. Then was in a UA film, The Private Affairs of Bellamy, Paramount on Samson and Delilah. Then in Kind Lady in 1951 and Mutiny in 1952. Then was in a few different radio plays. including Pride and Prejudice, and then started on television Robert Montgomery Presents The Citadel. That was an episode of that. But not happy with those roles, did not instructed her manager not to terminate her contract, and then joined East Coast Touring Productions. This is so cool because this is like someone taking charge of instead of just, I don't know, this is like changing it up and staying a professional performer. But yeah, it was in Affair Remains to Be Seen in Affairs of the State. Those are two former Broadway plays. But not happy at this time either. So again, I'm projecting, of course, then, let's see. They mix a lot of personal stuff in here, even though it's supposed to be about career. Returned to cinema as a freelance actress, and still did not enjoy, was being miscast. And she had some roles on different films. Are these films? Or, it says Hollywood. She played Princess Gwendolyn in the comedy film The Court Jester, Steak, Street, Purple were three other movies. And then another movie, Long Summer, Reluctant Debutante. And then those last few movies, the summer movie and the debutante movie, really boosted her career again. Throughout this period, she kept going on television in recurring roles or recurring appearances on Revlon Mirror Theater, Ford Theater, the George Gobel Show, and a regular on the game show Pantomime Quiz. Then finally got a sympathetic role in the Dark at the Top of the Stairs, which was critically acclaimed. But then, of course, it had the other side and All Fall Down, and then The Manchurian Candidate, which was she was cast in after Frankenheimer saw a performance in All Fall Down. And let's see what else. She'd agreed to appear in the film after reading the novel, one of the most exciting books I ever read. She got her third Best Supporting Actress Academy Award nomination for the film, but she lost to Patty Duke for The Miracle Worker in 1962. Then was in the Cool of the Day, World of Henry, Dear Heart. A lot of her titles are not. She turned down some roles, including Nurse Ratched in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. She was in Something for Everyone in 1970. And that same year, she was in Bedknobs and Broomsticks in 1971. That was her first lead in a screen musical. And she did a lot of publicizing of it, including on the David Frost Show. And that secured an enormous audience for me. So then she spent most of the 1970s on stage rather than screen. Big Farm on the Nile, the Vanishing Something, based on, that was a remake. I don't know if this is a film. A Mirror One based on Agatha Christie novel. This time is Holy Small World as Miss Marple. So we can't say Miss Marple's an Agatha Christie thing. Lady Marple, that's who I was thinking of. Not Miss Marple. That was a character I was wondering about. So then A Sleuth in 1950s Kent. She hoped to get away from the depiction of the role. Instead returning to Christie, that someone else had played. She kind of based on Agatha Christie's description of the character, which kind of was a precursor to Jessica Fletcher on Mystery I Wrote. She was signed on to appear in 2 sequels as Miss Marple that were never made, and then was in the animated film The Last Unicorn. Let's see. Okay, so then 1990 to 2000, doesn't say any, but this is when Mystery She Wrote is running. I think did this come up because of the, if you live in L.A. or you visit L.A. and you go on the Universal tour, you get to see part of Cabot Cove, or once what was, it's considered Amity and Cabot Cove, I think, or is my memory serving me? But Landsbury continued on television, miniseries, and cinema. Did the New York Philharmonic's tribute to the centenary of Statue of Liberty with Kirk Douglas. Was in something called Angels with a Frowny Face. Was in a couple other TV movies, I think. Shell Seekers. The Love She Sought. Miss Eris Goes to Paris. There's a rhyme. And that was an adaptation of a novel. That was her highest profile. Oh, no, her highest profile cinematic role was as Mrs. Potts in Beauty and the Beast, which she considered a gift to her 3 grandchildren. And the title song to the film won the Academy Award for Best Original Song, Golden Globe for Best Original Song, Grammy Award for Best Song Written for Motion Picture, Television, or Other Visual Media. And also made a surprise appearance in 2021, inspiring Walt Disney, the animation of French decorative arts at the Metropolitan Museums of Art's first ever exhibition about Walt Disney and Studios. Was also in films in Nancy McPhee in 2005. And that really was a positive experience for her. Then in Mr. Popper's Penguins with Jim Carrey. Was set to be in Grand Budapest Hotel. Holy mackerel. But had scheduling conflicts with the Australian production of Driving Miss Daisy, which she co-starred in with James Earl Jones. Then got an Honorary Academy Award, presented to her by Robert Osborne. Emma Thompson and Jeffrey Rush also were offered tributes. Then was in Miss Poppins Returns, the sequel. And what else we got? Was invited to the AFI. Spoke about some of her other experiences. Okay, now we get into theater, which is, so it's kept separate. So I guess we'll go theater, Broadway. But, yeah, so theater from Breakthrough was in Hotel Paradiso in 1957 on Broadway at the Henry Miller Theater. It only ran for 15 weeks, but she got good reviews. Then was in A Taste of Honey at the Lyceum Theater. And let's see what else we got. We got a great deal of satisfaction from that role. And developed a friendship with Laurence Olivier and Joan Plowright. Lived on East 97th Street. Was in The Summer of the 17th Doll. Abreast of a Scandal, Blue Hawaii, with Elvis Presley playing. That's a play? I don't know. Then was in Anyone Can Whistle, which was short-lived, but it was written by, Stephen Sondheim was involved. She appeared in a second season episode of The Man from U.N.C.L.E., The Greatest Story Ever Told, which is a biop. Moll Flanders, Harlow, Mr. Budwig. These are films, though, so this is jumping around. This is like Wikipedia made for Sleep With Me. She was in musical cinema, including The Pirates of Penzance. I saw that movie a few times. I didn't get it, but on repeat or something as a kid. She was in a gothic fantasy film, The Company of Wolves, in 1984, Little Gloria, Happy at Last, The Gift of Love, A Christmas Story, A Talent for Mystery, 1984, as a mystery writer, which is considered a rush job, but Laurence Olivier was in it. She was in Lace in the first Olympics in 1984. And then she played Mame Dennis in Mame, which is Jerry Herman's musical adaptation of Auntie Mame, which my dad was in the community theater, which I think has come up in a couple of episodes, including a repeat not that long ago. She actively sought the role in hopes that it would mark a change in her career. Theater critics were surprised. They thought it would go to a better-known actress, and it was her first starring role. And I was trying to explain to my daughter, actually, the character of Mame. She's a glamorous character, 20 costume changes in the Broadway play, 10 songs, dance routines. First appeared in Philadelphia, then Boston, and then at the Winter Garden Theater in 1966 in Broadway. And really gained Angela Lansbury a big following, overwhelmingly positive, and made her a superstar, according to some of her biographers. Everyone loves you. Everyone loves the success, enjoys it as much as you do. And that led her to be on Perry Cuomo's Thanksgiving special in 1966. She also used it as a jumping off point to raise money for organizations. She was invited to star in the 1968 Academy Awards and in a musical performance, and co-host that year's Tony Awards. Harvard University's Hasty Pudding Club elected her Woman of the Year. When the film adaptation of Mame was put in production, she was offered the part, but it went to Lucille Ball. Oh, she hoped to be offered the part, but Lucille Ball was a more established box office. Lansbury considers this a big disappointment. She followed her success of Mame as in Dear World, a musical adaptation of something else, but did not enjoy the experience. The reviews were positive, and she secured her second Tony Award of her performances, but the reviews of the show were not great. Then she was in Pretty Belle. Then 1970, a lot of stuff going on. In 1972, returned to London's West End to perform in the Royal Shakespeare Company's performance of Albee's All Over. And then she had a reluctant involvement. This was following her reluctant involvement in a revival of Maine, touring the United States. Then played Rose in Gypsy on the West End. She initially turned down the role, didn't want to be in the shadow of Ethel Merman, who played the Broadway version, and got rave reviews, standing ovation in May 1973. And she was soon in demand among London society, having dinners held in her honor. And then Gypsy went on tour in the U.S. and Chicago. Oh, and in Chicago was awarded the Sarah Siddons Award for her performance. Eventually got back to Broadway, where it was a critical success, third Tony Award. And then toured the country again in 1975. Then she needed a break from musicals, and she was Gertrude in Hamlet. Let's see what else. Was in two one-act plays by Edward Albee, Counting the Ways and Listening. Then another revival tour of Gypsy. Then 24 performances of The King and I. taking over somebody who's on break. Then on Sleeping on the Nile, which is an Agatha Christie adaptation. And Betty Davis, and I think Betty Davis was in that too. Then was in Sweeney Todd in 1979, which, let's see. She jumped on the role, being a Sondheim project, and loved the wit and intelligence of the lyrics. Remained in that role for 14 months, and got 4th Tony. Then kind of went on a little family business. What else here? Then she was inducted into the American Theater Hall of Fame. Then appeared in another Mame revival at the Gershwin, but the show it wasn't commercially successful. It's more of a period piece, not a show of today, Landsbury noted. 2001, returned after a mystery she wrote. She returned to Broadway in the musical The Visit, and she thought she was going to take a break from role. Had a bunch of family things going on, but returned in a play by Terrence McNally, The Deuce, not The Deuce, just Deuce, and received a Tony nomination for that one. She was in Blythe Spirit in 2009. Got a Tony Award for Best Featured Actress in a Play, her 5th Tony. Then was in something, let's see, 2009. She was in something with Catherine Zeta-Jones, a revival of A Little Night Music. 7th Tony nomination, and then she got a doctoral degree from the Manhattan School of Music, then returned to the West End in Gore Vidal's The Best Man. Then that's when she did the Australian tour of Driving Miss Daisy in 2013 with James Earl Jones. Then she returned to 2014 to Blythe Spirit, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It was even in the tour across North America. Got the Olivier Award in 2015 at 89. And in 2016 was announced it would return to Broadway in The Chalk Garden. But then Landsbury decided, I don't know, I'm going to keep taking a break, hang with my family. In 2019, Landsbury returned to Broadway portraying Lady Bracknell from The Importance of Being Earnest for Roundabout Theater. And then television. So this is totally So Sleep With Me. So in television, let's see, Landsbury was offered in 1983 a Norman Lear sitcom with Charles Durning, and then a detective series. And unable to do both, she decided to do the detective series, despite the fact her agents told her to do the sitcom. The series Mystery she wrote, she played Jessica Fletcher. We'll look that up. We'll learn more about that. Who was a mystery novelist, solving mysteries, she was writing mysteries and solving mysteries, an American Miss Marple. And the team that made it had made Columbo. First, the role was offered to Gene Stapleton, who declined the role, as did Doris Day. And his premiere, which had to do with Sherlock Holmes, came out in 1984. It was on Sundays from 8 to 9 p.m., and it was highly popular. Critical reviews were mixed. It got a Nielsen rating of 18.9, top rated in its time slot. Inoffensive family viewing. Despite the topic, the show was very mild and followed a whodunit format. And, nothing to keep you up at night, so kind of sleep with me. Landsbury was protective of Jessica Fletcher and had creative input over her costumes, makeup, hair, and would not, submit to pressure from network executives that wanted her to be in a relationship. She wanted to be a strong single female. And she believed that a scriptwriter had made things, if she would disagree, with the script and asked for it to be changed if it was not within the character. And she said it was a role model for older female viewers. And it was even called a television landmark, maybe even paved the way for the Golden Girls. And it gradually gained a younger audience. It says by 1991, 1/3 of the audience was under 50 years old. It outdid many things in the same time slot, even Steven Spielberg's Amazing Stories. There was even a spinoff in 1987. It looks like she was in Mame with B. Arthur. We'll find out. And then, as it continued, she took over in 1989, co-producing the show. But she did kind of, it was long hours, and thought like by 1991 the show would be ending. But then she became an executive producer in 92, 93. And the show's setting moved to New York City in the 8th season, where Jessica had taken a job at Manhattan University teaching. And that was an attempt to get more younger viewers. It became, it was a Sunday night institution. And the show's ratings improved during the early 90s, but CBS executives moved it to Thursdays at 8 p.m. There's not a good move. Opposite Friends, Landsbury was not happy. And the show finally ended in 1996, Angela Lansbury voicing a goodbye from Jessica message at the end. And it was kind of like everybody was focused on youth and the youth demographic at the time. But the role was very prominent. Let's see. What else? There was Mrs. Santa Claus, in which Lansbury played Santa Claus's wife, which was a hit. Lansbury was in different TV commercials, and even spinoffs of, things related to her success. Was guests on other TV shows that where Legal Order, those shows. BBC miniseries she produced. She played Aunt March on Little Women. And I think that's everything of her thing. So let's go to Mame next, because this is like a musical that I saw 3 or 4 times when my dad was in it. And I had no reference, but I was telling my daughter, it was kind of like a plot device back then. So it was originally titled My Best Girl. It was based on a 1955 novel. Written by Patrick Dennis in a 1956 play. It's set in New York City, spans the Great Depression, WW2. Eccentric bohemian Mame Dennis, whose motto is "Life is a banquet, and most people don't eat their fill." She lives a fabulous life with wealthy friends, which is interrupted when the young son of her brother comes to live with her, Patrick, and they cope with the depression in a series of adventures. It was also a film, but it opened on Broadway in 1966 with Angela Lansbury and B. Arthur. Oh, yeah, because she has a best friend, I think, that she plays off of. It was 58, it was a film, and 74. The Lucille Ball role was in 1974. Okay, the musical was inspired by the success of the play. And the Broadway was at the Winter Garden Theater. There was national tours. I don't know if this covers the plot adaptation. Oh, here's the synopsis. So Dane, Madam Dane, Mame Dennis, I don't know where my brain is. She's in a clique. 10-year-old Patrick is entrusted to her care. And so when I saw it, it was a community theater at a retirement community where my dad lives. So my dad was playing a boy. He was playing the so there was a little kid who played the little Patrick, like an actual 10-year-old. But for the rest of the play, it was played by my dad, who played like the high school, college, and adult Patrick. She introduces a boy to her freewheeling lifestyle. Agnes Gooch is, I don't know if that's her best friend. That says Mame's personal secretary and nanny-in-law. Vera Charles, that's her bosom buddy and a partier. And Dwight Babcock, who's the one who has control of her brother's estates. So, yeah, and it's like a kind of like a pretty basic advice, like a fish out of water for both of them. Patrick's just a kid, goes to live with Mame. Mame's like is living a single party life, kind of like with plenty of money. Then they lose everything in 1929. And Mame tries to get jobs, but she always has good humor and irrepressible sense of style, according to Wikipedia. Mame gets married to a Southern aristocrat. For some reason, I thought Patrick gets married at some point, though, too, I think. Patrick goes to boarding school, St. Boniface in Massachusetts, an imaginary school. Mame and Beau travel the world on an endless honeymoon. Then Beau visits a big farm during the honeymoon, but Mame's a wealthy widow. But Patrick is engaged. He's become a snob, I guess. He's engaged to a debutante, Gloria Upson. Her family's not open-minded at all, pretty close-minded. And Mame kind of gets Patrick's mind open. Then he meets another woman who becomes his wife. And in the end, Mame is hanging out with Patrick's son, Peter, with her usual flair. Let's kind of go through the songs. Overture, then St. Bridget with Patrick and Agnes. Then It's Today, which is Mame, Vera, and Company. Then Open a New Window. This must be when Patrick comes. Mame, Young Patrick, and Company. Then the Moon Song, The Man in the Moon, Vera, Mame, and Company. Then My Best Girl, Young Patrick and Mame. Then We Need a Little Christmas. I don't know if that's that song, We Need a Little Christmas, right this very moment. Let's look that up next. That's Young Patrick, Agnes, Ito, and Beauregard, and Mame. Fox Hunt, Uncle Jeff, Uncle Patrick, Cousin Fan, Mother Burnside. Then Mame, Beauregard, and Company. That must be when he falls for Mame. Final Act 1, My Best Girl and Mame, and Young Patrick and Company. Intra-act before Act 2, then opening Act 2, The Letter, Young Patrick and Older Patrick. Then a reprise of My Best Girl with Older Patrick, would have been my dad. Bosom Buddies with Mame and Vera. Gooch's Song with Agnes Gooch. That's How Young I Feel, Mame, Junior and Company. If You Walked Into My Life, Mame. It's Today, reprise, Mame and Company. My Best Girl, reprise with Older Patrick. Final Act 2, Open a New Window, all. Then Curtain Calls, It's Today, We Need a Little Christmas, in Mame. Yeah, it's a popular Christmas tune. We Need a Little Christmas, which makes sense because it was written during, 1929. Now, Bedknobs and Broomsticks. I get this movie and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang mixed up along with one of those Christmas movies, Santa Claus Is Coming to Town. And I guess I saw this on repeat or something. It came out before my time, but I definitely saw this when I was a kid. It's a animation and, what do they call it? Well, they'll tell us. 1971, Walt Disney. It was loosely based on books Magic Bedknob or How to Become a Witch in 10 Easy Lessons and Bonfires and Broomsticks by Mary Norton. During the night, it was entered development, during the negotiations for Mary Poppins, when those were placed on hold. And then it was shelved because it was too similar to Mary Poppins. It was originally 139 minutes long. Then it was edited to under 2 hours before its premiere. The Sherman Brothers composed the songs. It was released in 1971 in mixed reviews. They liked the live-action animated sequence. 5 Academy Awards, Best Special Visual Effects it won. It was the last film released prior to Roy O. Disney visiting his brother at the Big Farm. Let's see. It was restored. In 1996, it was restored with most of its deleted material put back in. There was a stage adaptation. So it takes place in 1940 with Charlie, Carrie, and Paul. They leave London. Oh, yeah, I remember starting this out because I just read a book about London in 1940 and watched a documentary. So the children, they want to go back to London, but they're supposed to be living out there. They see this lady flying on a broomstick. They change her mind. She reveals she's going to a correspondence school. Yes, there's a lot of funny stuff. And she wants to help the British defeat the people that are up to no good. She even has a transportation spell. She'll teach them to keep silence so that she figures out on the bed knob. Only Paul can work the spell. Then their school's closed. So she can't learn the final spell. She turns the bed into something. They go to London to find the professor. And, I guess, I remember meeting the professor. And they go to a magical land. The bed goes underwater. And so, I don't know. Eventually they teach the kids a bunch of stuff. Let's just close out with Mystery She Wrote, a little bit about it. I wonder if it has, not the facts, though. Let's see the premise. We talked about the ending. The cast, regular cast. I want to learn about Cabot Cove, though, is what my thing is. Is that really where it was set? I'm almost positive. If there's a Wikipedia article on Cabot Cove, I don't know if there is. So I'm searching for Cabot Cove. Let's see. It's mostly produced in the Universal Studios, Universal City, California. Exterior shots, some of them in Mendocino, which also stood in for the main town of Cabot Cove. So they did some exterior shots on location, but that's all about Cabot Cove. That's there. That's unfortunate. Tom Bosley was in it for the first 4 seasons. That's interesting. Tom Bosley from 1984 to 1988. So Tom Bosley was in Happy Days, which I was watching with my parents on, what is that thing called? It's like an app. You can watch free TV from, it's kind of like Nick at Night in the app version. Plasma or something? Pluto TV. And I said I had to leave the room because it was bringing up too many, I couldn't remember. Whenever Happy Days was airing, I must have been a child, so. But Tom Bosley was on that show, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Yeah, he was on Happy Days, the sitcom Happy Days, which was a 1950 sitcom that was out in the 70s, maybe. Let's see. Happy Days is, it's American sitcom. It was on TV from 74 to 84, 255 half-hour episodes, 11 seasons, Gary Marshall. It was an idealized vision of life in the 50s and 60s in the Midwest U.S. Ron Howard, Henry Winkler, Tom Bosley, Marion Ross, Anson Williams. It It was an unsold pilot originally. Howard Ross and Anson Williams loving the television set and then loving the Happy Days. And then George Lucas cast Howard in American Graffiti, which ABC took a second look at the pilot. And then they focused it on the dilemmas of innocent teenager Richie Cunningham. Who would have thought we got from Angela Lansbury to Happy Days? Oh, and that leads to Laverne and Shirley and Mork and Mindy, which were spinoffs from that. Laverne and Shirley, I highly recommend. I wonder if there's a Laverne and Shirley. That went from 1976 to 1983. You got so many great people in that. Penny Marshall, Cindy Williams, Michael McKean, David Lander, and a couple other people played like other recurring roles. It was a physical comedy. In its third season, it was the most watched American television program, 6 Golden Globes, 1 Emmy. It was a spinoff of Happy Days. Its 2 lead characters were introduced as acquaintances of Fonzie, Henry Winkler. Let's see, set in the roughly the same period, 1958 to 1967, made for Paramount by Gary Marshall, along with Lowell Gantz and Mark Rothman, and Michael Eisner. According to Michael Eisner, Cindy Williams had refused to do Laverne and Shirley spinoff, but her role was cast with Liberty Williams, no relation. They did a screen test, but they said no way. And they eventually got her to be co-star with Penny Marshall, co-star of the series. And the Shamil Shamakel Hoffenpuffer Incorporated, which is a Yiddish-American hopscotch chant, which leads the series theme song, Making Our Dreams Come True. Shamil Shamazel, Hoffenpuffer Incorporated. Probably saying it wrong. The hopscotch chant is from Penny Marshall's childhood. It was set in Milwaukee for the first 5 seasons. They worked as bottle cappers at the Schatz Brewery. And I think that's a nice place to close out. Angela Lansbury, all the way to Penny Marshall. Those are 2 amazing. So thanks, Angela Lansbury. We didn't get any fan fiction of yours. We just got, I don't know, this was interesting to take a little journey through Angela Lansbury's career and it led us to a couple other little meanders. So thanks and good night. All right, I want to thank everybody who became a patron recently, especially if it's done it recently. We've just been down, and so every little bit helps. I want to thank Ray, Emma, and Leslie. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Abna, Allie, and Abigail, thanks, and good night. Ben, Deb, and Diana, thank you, thanks, and good night. Peter, Sharon, and Elizabeth, thank you, thanks, and good night. Ewan, Marissa, and Sharon, thank you, thanks, and good night. Candy, Lauren, and Sasha, thank you, thanks, and good night. Sarah, Anthony, and Jelly, thank you, thanks, and good night. Hal, Chase, and Alan, thank you, thanks, and good night. Fatima, Rob, and M, thank you, thanks, and good night. Jamie, Jennifer, and Artie, thank you, thanks, and good night. Pablo, P, and Peter, thank you, thanks, and good night. And Marcia, Mel, and Miranda, thank you, thanks, and good night. Thanks, everybody that supports the show on Patreon or supports our sponsors. That's really, I say it a lot, but it's like literally how the podcast is here for free for everybody else. And I could not do it without those people. So I really, really appreciate it. That's what the thank yous are all about. I couldn't, there was like, I really appreciate it. So thanks, everybody. And we've been able to also add we used to only, a year ago, we only had 200 free episodes. Now we've got over 450. Can't even remember. I thought it was in the higher it looks like it's slowly getting up to 500. And that's because people that support the sponsors, like these new Tuck You In sponsors too. Thanks.